You're listening to The Foundation of Wellness, a refreshing take on diet and lifestyle. Join me, Marisa Moon, as we tackle modern health with innovative and ancient principles. I'm a certified primal health coach and intermittent fasting instructor at marisamoon.com. Hey, it's me, Marisa. Thanks for being here with me, and our numbers are starting to climb. We're at 19,000 downloads. I can't believe it, and it's a big thanks to you. Thank you for being a listener, and help us share this podcast with someone who maybe doesn't even know how to listen to podcasts. Show them how to subscribe. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already. That means you get all the newest episodes and won't miss a thing. Now today, I'm sharing with you my new reset method that I developed to help people start fasting the right way, if you ask me, and adopt a realistic fasting routine that's going to work for the rest of your life. It's not just going to work, you're actually going to love it, and you'll keep going and doing it because you actually prefer it to the way you were living and eating before. Now, my approach is pretty laid back. It helps me not to get too obsessive over what to eat and when to eat, and it helps me be a happier person. I figured there's probably other people out there like me who want that kind of liberty, and I was right. I just got a message a couple of days ago from a follower about her experience with fasting, and she said, "I'm so amazed at how fasting is helping me. I tried the constant grazing method to try and keep my metabolism burning, but all it did was make me preoccupied and a slave to food. Those obsessive thoughts ended up causing weight gain. With fasting, I've lost a crazy amount of weight in a short period of time. My energy and focus is improving, and I'm cultivating self-discipline in the process. Yay, fasting." It's true. You'd think that fasting makes you more obsessive about food and dieting, but it's really the opposite, especially with the flexible, intuitive fasting that I teach. Now, I should preface the remainder of this episode by mentioning that the fasting industry is changing pretty quickly. It's evolving as the research comes out and more experts are out there promoting it. So sometimes you'll hear intermittent fasting called time-restricted eating or time-restricted feeding. So for right now, I think it's best if you just consider them all the same thing. Some of the top experts like Dr. Joseph McCullough, they're now trying to change the definition of intermittent fasting to be fasting 24 hours or longer at a time. They prefer to use the term time-restricted eating or time-restricted feeding to describe daily fasts that are less than that, basically, when you restrict your eating to a certain window of time, like between 12 and 20 hours long, for instance, because that implies that you're restricting your eating to a certain time frame in the day, thus the phrase time-restricted eating. But if you fast for 14 hours a day, you'd be restricting your eating to 10-hour window of time. It depends. You want to look at it like you're fasting or you're eating. I look at it like I'm fasting. So like I said, I don't think everyone's going to catch on for a long time or maybe never. So since I've been saying intermittent fasting for so many years now, and you're probably more familiar with the term intermittent fasting, I think we should just stick with that. Does that sound good? Now, while we're on the topic of what most intermittent fasting experts teach, you should also know that most of them teach a very specific fasting method with lots of rules and strict start and end times. Then, when you don't see results, they'll tell you you're not doing it perfectly enough, or you're not getting your calories low enough, or you're dirty fasting and you're not clean fasting. I say no thank you. My reset method that we're going to go through today will help anyone and everyone to adopt a smart fasting lifestyle. And when you're done going through the phases in this method, you can change it up to help you reach the goals that you have in mind. Make it your own thing. And it works literally for everyone. Now you can get ahead of the game right now if you're not driving and grab the reset manual I created so you can follow along and get a little visual support while you're listening to this podcast episode. This manual I created is free. And you can download it over at coaching.marisamoon.com/HTT-19. It comes along with loads of support in your inbox in the days that follow and action items to really keep you accountable throughout the process. Again, that download link is coaching.marisamoon.com/HTT-19. But no matter where you're at right now, you are about to hear a 15-minute recording from the exclusive video that I created for a summit last fall. And that's when I debuted this reset method. And the recording walks you through my framework. And it includes the top mistakes people make and why you would benefit from following these phases. Ready? Here it is. Do you remember the story of the tortoise and the hare? The tortoise challenges the hare to a race, and the rabbit's like, "You think you can beat me? That's hilarious." So, of course, he takes the challenge, but he didn't take the race seriously. He actually took a nap during the race. Well, in the end, the tortoise wins, and the moral of the story is slow and steady wins the race, or that you can be more successful by taking things slow and steadily. Well, it's really no different when it comes to intermittent fasting. It's worth going slow and steady so that you'll have the highest chances at success. Keep that in mind today as I walk you through how anyone can achieve long-term results with intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting, or IF for short, seems like a new dietary fad at first glance, right? One that's going to be here and gone before the next diet book comes out. So it's common for people to treat intermittent fasting like another quick fix. I mean, they judge it and abuse it and toss it out right away. Well, I'm here to show you not only how intermittent fasting can work for you, but how it can pay off for the rest of your life. In case you're not sure what intermittent fasting is, it means that you're taking a longer break between your meals most days of the week, like 12 to 20 hours breaking overnight between your dinner and the first meal of the following day. And this is so you can give your digestive system a break, give your body a break from food, and that allows your body to eventually enter a fasted state, a state where the body's no longer using the food you consume for energy usage and energy storage, but it starts to use the energy you already have inside of you. A lot of people try intermittent fasting and they end up deciding that it's not for them. And even more people decide it's not for them before they even try it. And lots of people try it and think that they've failed or that IF failed them like every other diet. Well, if you're watching this, then it's likely that you have tried it and you either liked it or you found it difficult. Or it's even likely that you're just intrigued and you want to know more about intermittent fasting. Well, the problem is, regardless, you don't want to fail at another diet this time. You don't want to do it if it's not going to work. You don't want to do it if it's going to work in the beginning either and just fail you in the end, right? Well, if you take on intermittent fasting like the tortoise, slow and steady, you're going to be rewarded over and over again in ways that compound and surprise you in every new leg of the race. Imagine if you fell in love with intermittent fasting because it brought out the best in you. It makes you feel better in every way. Your body confidence, your energy levels, your life is just better. It increases your appreciation for food and for your body, and it feels so right you don't even question it ever again. Think about how rewarding it would be to have a way of eating that just comes so naturally to you that you intuitively know it's your best way of life. These long-term results and rewards come from practice, flexibility, instinct, and wisdom. And these are results you can earn, and absolutely anyone can achieve them. And I can tell you that with absolute confidence because I've taught hundreds of busy adults how to use intermittent fasting in various ways to achieve their goals for better health, lower body fat, more energy. I'm Marisa Moon, and I'm a Certified Primal Health Coach. I have a 4-step proven system to help people ease their way into intermittent fasting safely and successfully. And what I've done for you today is pretty special, though. I have taken my 4-step system even further with a brand new framework that I developed to help anyone achieve long-term results with intermittent fasting. And I call it the Reset Framework. And you'll learn all about it in this talk. The R in Reset stands for reduce carbs. The E, eat nourishing foods. S, start with 12 hours. E, extend your fasts. T, trust your instincts. We'll get into what each step of the framework means for you, and I'll tell you some of the biggest mistakes people make when they try intermittent fasting. In the end, you'll walk away with a clear pathway to long-term intermittent fasting results, and you can use this life-giving practice to take your health to the next level for as long as you're alive. In my opinion, the single biggest mistake people make when they first start intermittent fasting is that they don't fix their diet to begin with. Too many of the intermittent fasting experts out there will tell you that you have to do 20 to 24 hour fasts all the time or 3-day fasts every week just to get the benefits. Now, there are a lot of good reasons for that, but the main reason is because it takes most people 20 to 72 hours to force their metabolism into fat-burning mode or a state called ketosis. This is a quick fix sort of extreme approach to fasting, and it doesn't address the underlying problem or the cause of your metabolism being so out of whack in the first place. And it's also more likely to intimidate you or to make you want to quit intermittent fasting like the other diets you've quit in the past. Let me ask you this. What kinds of foods make up your meals and your snacks for the day? What does your breakfast look like? Are you with most Americans in that you eat breads and bagels, oatmeal, chips, something sweet every day or at every meal? Are you eating over 150 grams of carbohydrates per day? Do most of the foods that you eat come from a package or a drive-through or end up between 2 slices of bread? If you saw my first video on Habits to Thrive last February, you might remember the importance of carbohydrate moderation, which I taught to help you put an end to dieting. Carbs are the centerpiece of most people's diets today, and we're paying the price in more ways than we can imagine. It's not our fault, but we need to start doing something about it. Modern food processing, big food companies, and our very own USDA even have made it so confusing for us as consumers and as dieters today. We fell for all the marketing and convenience in the food industry, and we're just paying for it because our bodies can't keep up with our current carbohydrate intake. If you start intermittent fasting without bringing your carbohydrates down to a more reasonable level, then intermittent fasting will be hard. It will be contributing to the roller coaster that your body is already on with hunger signals, sending you into an evening binge or a morning fast being something that you're watching the clock for, hoping that the next second is your last. That's why the first concept of my reset framework is to reduce carbs. By embarking on a simple 21-day carbohydrate reduction, where my clients are eating under 130 grams of carbs a day, they're able to retrain their metabolism to use body fat for energy. And this, in turn, allows them to go longer between meals and start fasting with ease. I mean, isn't that what you want? To burn body fat, to fast with ease? You can learn more about how to approach carb moderation and why this matters by visiting marisamoon.com/blog/53. When you're reducing your carbohydrate intake, you need to replace those carbohydrates with nourishing natural fats and pasture-raised meats, wild-caught seafood, so that you get plenty of satisfying fats and protein from your new diet. That is why the next guideline in my reset framework is to eat nourishing foods. Because if you keep eating junk or you don't acquire enough nutrients, then intermittent fasting is like evening things out, like one step forward, one step back. You're not going to be progressing. Another reason to consciously eat nourishing foods is so that you don't undereat once you start fasting. This is one of the biggest mistakes people make after they get into fasting. They start to undereat because they have this mindset that they're fasting or they're dieting, so they'll just have a snack when they break their fast, or they'll just pick at things, or they don't want a full meal because it'll drag their energy down and interrupt the high energy boost they've gotten from fasting. Well, undereating really confuses your metabolism. The last thing you want is for your metabolism to slow down, which luckily does not happen with intermittent fasting as long as you're eating nourishing foods. It happens when your body is deprived of adequate nutrients on a regular basis, like chronic caloric restriction. If your body fears that it's not going to get enough calories or nutrients, it'll start to hold on to your fat for dear life. And I know you don't want that. When you break your fast, it's time to eat a nourishing meal. It's okay if you want to break up your meal into smaller meals so that your energy doesn't get dragged down midday. That's totally fine, but it needs to be made up of nutrient-dense foods that are satisfying and without restraint. You must eat as much as your hunger desires, and I don't want you to count calories, please. So the next progression is to start with 12 hours. This is a pretty critical point to make because everyone jumps into intermittent fasting with the idea that they have to go 14, 16, 18 hours or more because that's what's generally accepted as intermittent fasting. Well, go ahead and try to push yourself if that's what you really want, but if you push too hard too fast, do you really know what intermittent fasting is going to feel like? Do you really know if it works for you? No, you don't. You need to give your body and your brain time to adapt. And 12 hours is an awesome baseline, by the way. Anybody can do it. And if you just do that, you're already improving your health span and your body composition in a significant way. So once 12 hours feels natural and easy to you, it's time to add another hour or two each week as you get used to it. I want you to take your time once again. Extend that fasting window in gradual time so you can adapt. Pay attention to how you feel too, and the way it's working with your schedule, with your lifestyle. You might feel great fasting the first day for 16 hours, right? You're glad you don't have to think about what to eat, but the next day you're distracted and irritable. There's no rush. You got to give it time. Respect the changes that are happening in your system as you adapt. And this brings us to the last progression in the reset framework, which is to trust your instincts. By ebbing and flowing with your intermittent fasting experience, you'll learn what your instincts are trying to tell you. This is really important. If you're already intermittent fasting, I want you to pay attention here. This will literally make or break your long-term results with intermittent fasting. If you don't learn to respect or accept your instincts, then you're going to be frustrated with yourself or ready to quit intermittent fasting because you felt you couldn't do it perfectly enough. Now, being too rigid is another big mistake people make. It has everything to do with ignoring your instincts too. Just because you're trying an intermittent fasting plan that suggests that you fast for 18 hours a day and eat during the other 6 hours a day doesn't mean that you should religiously fast every single night from 8 p.m. until 12 p.m. the next day every single time. You'd actually benefit from changing it up according to your mood, your social life, your stress levels, your workout routine, your family schedule, whatever life throws at you. Your metabolism will reward you with major flexibility and enhanced fat burning if you learn how to listen to your instincts and change things up whenever it feels right. So there you go. When it comes to intermittent fasting, remember the story about the tortoise and the hare and take things slow. By using this reset framework, you can tap into lifelong flexibility and anti-aging and weight management and energy-boosting benefits. And I put together the reset framework into a downloadable guide for you, and you can grab it over at coaching.marisamoon.com/HTT-19. The guide includes tips for each stage of the progression, and there are even more tips than I've had time to share here today. Thanks again for joining us. I'm here to guide you, and I'm really excited to see how you feel with intermittent fasting. Bye. Alrighty. I hope you enjoyed that and you got a lot out of it. Most of the real impact is going to occur when you are viewing the actual guide and going through the action steps that I've suggested for you. So grab it. And you're probably wondering what my fasting routine is. Well, I should say it's not really a routine per se. I've been doing it for like 5 or more years now. And I really learned to ebb and flow and shape it according to my lifestyle and my schedule and my mood. And I tend to fast between 14 to 18 hours every day, most days of the week, especially every day I go to the office or I'm away from home. Now, if I stay home, I usually only fast 12 hours because it's just more enjoyable to pull back from fasting and eat when I'm at home for the day. I also tend to break my fast earlier when it's the week of my monthly cycle or if I'm having some specific cravings for anything besides junk food. Sometimes I add collagen peptides to my coffee if I feel like I'm not getting enough protein. Oh, and there's a great episode on having more energy where I explain why I need more protein, and you might too. That's episode number 69 on this podcast, called 9 Ways to Have More Energy. But back to my fasting. Protein during the fast means that you're not getting all of the regenerative benefits of fasting, but there still are many benefits. Now, on most days, I actually don't even drink coffee anymore. But I'll go in these phases where I drink bulletproof decaf coffee every day. Sometimes I'll do a 23-hour fast where I don't eat anything from dinner one night until dinner the next day. Are you getting the idea here? There's a lot going on, right? I'm clearly not routine-like with my fasting, and that's the beauty of it. That's what I'm trying to teach you. That's how you're going to make it last for a lifetime. Now, by moderating my carb intake so that it's always under 150 grams of carbs a day, usually under 100 grams, and eating nutrient-dense foods, plus fasting for 12 to 18 hours most days of the week, I've been able to retain my figure and my lean muscle for the last 5 years, no matter how many months I go without intentional exercise. It's incredible. I mean, I have the same problems all of you have. That's why I became a health coach, because I'm always looking for answers for myself. And I'll go through these phases where I won't exercise at all and I don't prioritize it. I'm finally back in it right now, and exercise is doing wonders for my brain and my mood. So as of just 2 weeks ago, it's a big part of my life again. Now, I want to wrap up by telling you that I started fasting those 5 or so years ago because I was hoping to see some improvements in my ADHD symptoms, like low mental energy, depressive moods, and just constant overwhelming moments of stress when dealing with daily life and responsibilities. Fasting worked tremendously for me, and it still does, which is one of the many reasons I do it now. And this is why I'm now researching how fasting affects the ADHD brain and what it can do for anyone looking for more brain power and mental energy. I even had some brain mapping done with a Chicago psychologist named Dr. Sam Afara to see what the patterns in my brain look like before fasting without any coffee or medication or anything like that, and after breaking my fast in the same day. I'm going to have him on the show so he can tell you what brain mapping is and what we learned in the process. And I'm sharing my theory on fasting for the ADHD brain and mental energy in the Fasting for Freedom Summit that starts really soon, the week of March 2nd, 2020. It's all free and all online, and you can catch my presentation if you register for the summit at bit.ly/Marisa Moon. That's bit.ly/Marisa with a capital M and one S, and Moon with a capital M as well. There are going to be 20 other female fasting experts presenting in the span of 10 or more days. And you're going to have plenty of time to listen to all your favorite speakers. The interviews are only 30 minutes long, and they're playing for 48 hours straight. Only 2 speakers per day, so you are not going to miss whoever it is you want to catch. And if you're super intrigued by all this, wishing that I could help you personally with your lack of mental energy or your ADHD symptoms, I can coach you. It's affordable and motivating to have someone work with you one-on-one, and I can totally relate to you. I know what it's like. One of my favorite things to do is to coach other people like me. I understand how your brain works, and I can help you organize the things that matter most to you, prioritize the things that are going to really move the needle, and help you with your nutrition so that your brain is really working on point. That's what it's all about, right? You can schedule a free call with me so we can chat about your situation and your goals, and I'll explain what you can expect when I am your coach. So go to marisamoon.com/consultation and schedule your 30-minute call using my online calendar. And that's that. Thank you for listening. Your support keeps me going. Please share this episode with someone you care about and introduce them to the power of fasting and to the Foundation of Wellness podcast. click the share button and share it to your social media, to your Instagram stories, to your Facebook page. Help us get the word out. And have a great day. Bye.